Hi guys, welcome to the Premier Division predictions for 2025. Fans are going to hate me. They always hate me when I do this video because I'm going to pick some of their teams bottom and second bottom, etc. It's very frustrating. But yeah, we're going to start from 10th and finish up at 1. I'm going to pick out my 3 key players for each side and maybe explain why as well. Going to give my predictions. Billy might react a little bit to them, so I'll be interested to see his thoughts there too. Starting off, bottom of the league, they're going to hate me. It's the bitter red, Sligo Rovers. Yeah, well, first of all, I'll say every team this season is full-time, etc. There isn't actually a bad team in the league, if I'm honest with you. We have that situation a little bit this season as well as we had last season. It's very difficult to say who'll finish bottom. I'd be fairly confident on the bottom 4, personally, in terms of they'll be the bottom 4, but the order, not too sure. Let us know your opinion as usual, lads, in the comments. That's very important, where you think your team will finish, who's going to win, who's going to finish bottom, etc. But Sligo Rovers, I think they've lost an awful lot of top players. Like Ed McGinty going, it's a massive blow, massive blow. I think he was vital in saving them a lot of points last season. Simon Power, very good player, very good player. Niall Morahan, captain aside, gone to Bowes. Ellis Chapman, 9 goals last season, gone to Shelburne. These are massive losses for any team, and you know, the goalkeeper for me is a massive one. It really is. They've brought in players like Francine Lamboto, Keane Kavanagh, Jada Kiki, Ronan Manning, Sam Sargent is now the new goalkeeper. But it's a difficult one for me, to be honest. The one that could be to watch could be Oscar Van Hadam, who's coming from Wellington. He could be one to watch. He's a winger, but you know, they just look considerably weaker. You know, and it's very difficult to see them finishing outside the bottom 2 or 3, in my opinion. But I have gone for them bottom of the league. What do you think of that, Billy?
Yeah, Simon Power, Ed McGinty, J.R. Wilson even. They're all big losses. And Chapman, they were all key players for Sligo last season. And they're all big losses. McGinty's a big loss. He was a very good keeper. Chapman, very good player. Same with Simon Power and J.R. Wilson. They've lost a few good players, but they have also brought in a few players. They might do well, Sligo.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I think as for key players, I'll go for Eldin, because Eldin is a young striker with a lot of potential. If he can fire for them and, let's say, kick on this season, he could be crucial for them, in all honesty. Elsewhere, Conor O'Malley's still a very strong midfield player. And Ali Denham at the back, I think, is a very good defender. So for me, they're their 3 key players. And look, they may not finish bottom. It's not a guarantee by any means that they finish bottom, but I do think they'll finish bottom. Now, in 9th place, I've gone for the team that finished 9th last season, of course, won the FAI Cup, and that's Drogheda United. I think it could be another difficult season for them. Yes, they're full time for the first time, but again, it's a tough league. Would they be happy with that? I think they'd be reasonably happy if they stayed up, but they don't want the anguish of potentially going down again, I guess. And some of the players they brought in, Jack Brady, goalkeeper from Galway United, Conor Keeley, presence coming back from St. Pat's, Thomas Alua from Wexford, Kieran Cruz, who will be backup, but good backup to Connor Kane. Douglas James Taylor is important. Obviously, Alicia, he's out for potentially a few months, so that's a loss. Josh Thomas on loan from Swansea, Paul Doyle from Dundalk, Owen Lamb from Orange County, and George Cooper have come in. George Cooper on loan from Mansfield. But they've lost some key members of the squad in terms of experience. Okay, Deegan wasn't playing, big influence in the dressing room, though. Adam Foley's another one who's gone. France Perrault is another key one, you'd argue, who's gone as well. So they've lost some, I'd say, personalities, if you like, etc. They finished the season last season strongly, of course, but again, I think the league has got stronger again. Is their squad as strong as it was last season? Again, only time will tell on that particular one too. Drogheda United, Billy, how are you seeing that?
I think, in my opinion, France Perrault was a big loss because him and Douglas James Taylor had a very good partnership up top. They got good goals, a lot of goals together in the second half of the season when Douglas James Taylor joined, and then they had a very good partnership. Maybe one of the new signings Could have a good partnership with Douglas James Taylor, but again, only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to look to Josh Thomas to hopefully do well. Taylor missed the first few weeks of the season as well, so that's a loss. Yeah, so their key players for me are Douglas James Taylor because he's going to have to be playing well this season for them to do well. I think Connor Keeley is another key player. They'll be hoping that he can knit that back line together. And the other one's Connor Kane, left wing back, who I watched against Shelbourne, was by far their best player, another key player too. But Drogheda United in ninth place for me. Now in eighth place, I've gone for Cork City, and honestly, they could finish bottom potentially. They could finish seventh potentially. Very hard to read. Why, at this minute in time, I think they'll finish ahead of Drogheda and Sligo Rovers is the fact that it's the firepower. I like their firepower. They've got a good partnership up front with Sean Maguire, who I think may well score a lot of goals this season, and Rory Keating, which actually helps Maguire big time. Cotla Sullivan is an excellent young talent as well. And they've Alex Nolan there too. So I think their firepower, depending how well, particularly I think that Keating and Maguire do in this division will determine where they finish, to be honest. If they struggle, let's say, I think they finish bottom. Without question, they finish bottom if they struggle. If they do very well, they could even finish higher than the position I have them in, to be honest with you. But Sean Maguire's experience, and as is Keating as well, so it's not as if they're going to be unknown to Premier Division. Keating did do well in his last season at Cork in the Premier Division. So this idea that he hasn't done it in the Premier Division, things didn't work at Pats for many reasons actually. But he's at home in Cork. Maguire, look, Irish international, he was top scorer in the league years ago for Cork. He's starting the season, pre-season now. He's going to be, needs no introduction basically. Cotla Sullivan, excellent young player, great technique, carry a ball, good skill, calm, composed, can finish brilliantly as well. Their weaknesses lie down the back line. I think they're probably a little bit weaker than Sligo Rovers and Drogheda in the back line, if I'm honest with you. Potentially. Midfield, they've got still likes a Bulger in there. They brought in the likes of, I mentioned Alex Noel and Benny Cusho, who's rated quite highly as a left back. Ken Tross, their goalkeeper, hard to judge him. Connor Brand's come in from Swindon. Rio Shipson has come in on loan for Sheffield Wednesday. Told he's got decent quality. Freddie Anderson from Stoke on loan. Etc. The likes of Kit Nelson's come in from Preston loan. So there are other players that they've brought in. It's hard to kind of judge them. They've obviously let go a lot of players. Because they've come from abroad, it is difficult to judge them. So I'm going by only what I know and see. They'll be hoping that Charlie Lyons can adapt well to the Premier Division and do well there and hold the back line together as well. But yeah, Cork City, Billy, how are you seeing them?
Yeah, when Rory Keating, when he was at Cork in his first spell, he was very good. First Division and Premier Division, he was very, very good. Then obviously he got the move to Pats last season and things didn't go as well. Then mid-season he went back to Cork and he's done very well again. If he can do well in the Premier Division with Cork, Cork will do very well.
Good stuff, Billy. Interesting stuff. Yeah, the key players that went for are simply O'Sullivan, Keating and Maguire. Honestly, if they all fire, they're not going to go down. But if they all struggle, I think they're definitely finished bottom of the table. That's the way I see Cork. But I have them in 8th place in the league. In 7th place, I've gone for Keith Long's Waterford FC, and I've kind of switched them over a few times with Cork, but probably have a little bit of extra experience in Cork City. They struggled last season in the second half of the season, to be fair, and they've lost some big players. The likes of Barry Bagley has gone, obviously St. Patrick's leg, very good midfielder. Connor Parsons has joined Bowes via Dagenham and Redbridge. So, Robbie McGrath, Niall O'Keefe, people say maybe they're not massive losses, etc. Shane Flynn, I think he's at Ballymena now. United brought in a lot of players from the League of Ireland, haven't they, as such? But, yeah, some of the players have brought in. They obviously have brought in Andy Boyle from Dundalk, hoping for a bit of experience, and he'll help them in the back line. Sam Glenfield has come in from Fleetwood, of course, scoring that brilliant goal in the 3-2 win against Bowes at Daleyman Park, if you remember, Billy. Brad Wade is coming from Cork, goalkeeper. Tommy Lonergan on loan. Conan Noonan on loan, very interesting signing. I like Noonan from Shamrock Rovers, and Manny Smith has rejoined from Shell. So they do have some good players there at Waterford. FC, and look, they'll probably be hoping to kick on. Obviously, they've got Pádraig Amond up front as well. He scored a lot of goals last season at the age of 36. Can they rely on him again this season? Be the question. We'll see. But he does bring great leadership also to that club. I've Waterford in 7th place, Billy. How are you seeing Waterford FC?
Yeah, they lost a few players. They also brought in a few players. They lost Connor Parsons to Bows, Barry Bagley to Pats, and they also brought in the likes of Matty Smith and Tommy Lonergan that have also had experience in the Premier Division as well. Like Matty Smith, for example, played for Pats and Shells as well. Maybe someone else.
Derry City, yeah.
Yeah, couldn't remember. Obviously, Tommy Lonergan was at Pats, and if they can all work together, like they will be good. They will be good.
Yeah, the other big player that lost affairs was Dara Power to Cheltenham as well, which he gave them a lot on that right hand side too. So, look, I think if you're a Waterford fan, if you finish 7th, I think you'd be reasonably happy. They've been up and down the last number of years. If they can just cement their Premier Division status for the next couple of years, that's how you really build. There's nothing wrong with that. You obviously, every fan wants to challenge for Europe, etc. And you never know, they might do. But my key players for them going into the season are Conan Noonan. I think he's a very nice footballer, very good at set pieces, etc. So that'll be a help there. Manny Smith, if you can get him playing well, Manny Smith is a big player. Played a lot of games for the champions Shelburne last season. And of course, Pádraig Amond, because like anything, if you have a goal scorer and he does well, that can give you a couple of bumps up the table. If he doesn't do well, that could knock them down a bit too. So yeah, Waterford in 7th place for me. So in 6th place, I've gone for Galway United. I went for them to finish last year, Billy. And funnily enough, 6th place would actually be regress from last season where they finished 5th, believe it or not. But I'm sure Galway United fans would be reasonably happy if they finish 6th again. Again, a little bit like Waterford. You want to, cement yourself. And look, they did really well last year. And look, they've got a wily combination. John Caulfield, full of experience, and Ollie Horgan there as manager. Some of the players they've brought in have been from abroad, really. Daniel Steins, Newcastle Jets, Moses Dyer, one to watch, Evan Watts, and Sean Kerrigan has come in from Michigan State. He's a brother of Liam Kerrigan, actually, who was at Como before UCD and then Como. Can't remember the name of the club he's at now, actually, but anyway, we'll move away from that. The players they've lost, I'm looking at them here, and I don't think they've lost anyone really who they'd be disappointed to lose, to be honest with you. None of them are really what I would call first team players, so I won't even go into them. But the fact is with Galway, the big thing for Galway for me was that they resigned the bulk of the squad that they had, and they've added a bit around it, which is key. Like Brendan Clark, Patrick Hickey, of course, Asue, Conor McCormick, Ed McCarthy, who you love, Stephen Walsh, Rob Slevin, Greg Cunningham, Jimmy Keohane, who they brought in midway through last season, Buckley Burns, and Bruder, of course. So Galway will be solid again, I think. I think they might be, weirdly, they might be a better side and finish 6th. It's just the way the league is and other teams improving and that. Very difficult to play against. Got a lot of big physical players, and of course, they have that Ed McCarthy weapon, Billy.
Yeah, last season they were very good from set pieces, whereas free kicks, corners, and especially throw-ins from Ed McCarthy into the box. His throw-ins are very, very good. Right in the box. It might even be better than some corners at times. It does be that good.
Yeah, in fairness, yeah, they're like bullets, aren't they? It's just the way, they're brilliant, actually. Fair. He's a good player as well, Ed McCarthy, to be fair, apart from that as well. You don't like to just say it's throw-ins. Yeah, no. He's got good ability, and he's got a cracking goal against Pats, actually, at Richmond Park. Yay. But my key players for Galway United are the striker, the new one, Moses Dyer. I think if he does well in the league, he'll give them an extra option. They didn't have they had goals all around the team last year, but you wouldn't say they had a goal scorer as such. If he could add that, then that gives them more strength to them. Brendan Clark, because if Clark can say fish, etc., his presence in that team is huge. And Jimmy Keohane, who came in halfway through last season, have him from the start of the season. I think he's a really good player too. So Galway United in 6th place. Now in 5th place, I've gone for a side that struggled badly last year, and that is Bohemians, Billy's team. Now Bohs, there's a couple of things here. The recruitment has been better than it has been in years, you'd have to say. Excuse me, pardon me. Colin Whelan's come in for Derry City, who's a very good striker. We'll have to see how he gets on because he's had suffered bad injuries in the last few seasons. Niall Morahan, Sligo Rovers captain, has joined. John Mountney gives them good leadership coming in from Dundalk. Add to the fact that Cornwall and Buckley are back to give them a bit more leadership and presence, which is needed, I think, in that particular team. Parsons has come in, as mentioned before. Alex Lacey and Kean Best, who's rated highly, left back at Preston on loan. The other big signing, I suppose, has to be Lys Mousset, who formerly played with Sheffield United and Bournemouth in the Premier Division. It's a really interesting signing. He hasn't played in 2 years, which is mad for a player that has played in the Premier League very, very recently. From the ages of 26 and 28, pretty much, he hasn't played football, which is mental when you think about it. But he's joined Bowes, and he's going to be on a one-year deal. He's going to be very, very interesting signing, because if he takes the league by storm, you never know where Bowes will finish. Any players have lost? I'm looking at the list, and do you see any losses there, Billy? There's no player there, I would say, that you would say is a big, big loss to Bowes, is there?
We haven't lost any first teamish players from last season. We've also, I think, built from it as well. We've brought in very good players. Lys Mousset will be a very good signing. Best, hopefully he has a good loan spell with Bowes. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm just going to interrupt you slightly there, because also you have to remember from midway through last season, like Lee Kavanagh has come in, and in particular Ross Tierney and Dawson Devoy have come in. So you're getting them from the start of the season. They seem to have a lot of talent in midfield, Billy, don't they? They've got Devoy, Tierney, Clark, Meekison. They still have Flores. Manis is still at the club. Adam O'Donnell, Niall Morahan, Buckley. It feels like, actually, you could argue they've too many midfielders in many ways. That's the only thing I would say there. I'd imagine Tierney would play in a 10, but another player to watch is a young player called Reece Brennan out wide, so keep an eye on him, young player coming through the academy there. Some people argue that maybe they're still porous at the back, and maybe that their manager may not be the strongest of the managers in the league. That's another question. Their squad has definitely improved, and the key players I've gone for are Rob Cornwall for one, because I think if he can come in and play, he can bring leadership and bind that back line together. I think Lee Kavanagh could do well beside him, potentially. I still have Dawson Devoy in midfield as a key player, despite them having so many midfielders, and on Ross Tierney, because I think the likes of them, the creativity will only help the likes of Whelan and Mousset. So, look, it's definitely more exciting for Bowes than it has been in a few years, but I feel like, I don't know, could they get to Europe? Maybe, but I feel like there's other clubs that will still finish above them. Billy, quick thoughts on that?
Our team has been, I think, better than it has the past few seasons. Obviously, I said that we brought in a few very good players, Mousset, Best. Yeah, I've already said them.
Do you think they could qualify for Europe, though?
I think if Mousset and Colin Whelan start firing from the start of the season, I think they do have a chance of getting Europe.
Next up, I've gone for Derry City in 4th place. Now, Derry City finished 4th last year. There's been a lot of changes at the club. I would say, rightly, obviously the manager is gone. The previous manager, Rory Higgins, is gone. They've gone for Tiernan Lynch. I did a video on Tiernan Lynch. He's come in from Larne, did a good job at Larne, and they're trying to change a lot of the structures at Derry City, and there's been a few things there, like for example, they're training now at Owen Begg, which is a fantastic, it's a GA facility, but it's a fantastic facility for Derry City to have, etc, etc. So it feels like they have a proper training ground as well. Derry City are probably the one club I find the most difficult to predict, because they've a new manager, because they've so many players they've brought in that haven't played in the league, so we don't know how they're going to play in the league, basically. And because there's 3 teams, obviously, that I haven't mentioned yet, that I feel are quite settled in terms of units and squads, and they feel like teams to me. Derry City at this minute in time, we don't know how well they're going to adapt as a team unit. They look like on paper they've brought in a lot of good players, former internationals, Northern Ireland internationals, i.e. Shane Ferguson, i.e. Liam Boyce, i.e. Gavin White, for example, Carl Winchester. Dan Thomas has come in from Queen's Park. The likes of Sam Todd, Kieran Harkin are back at the club. Robbie Benson. So, they, on paper, they look like decent signs. How they form as a team, I don't know. They've managed to keep hold of Brian Maher and Adam O'Reilly, I think, which is massive. I think that's absolutely massive. And, if they can play a better brand of football, play a bit quicker, get the likes of Duffy on the ball earlier, he should have an even better season as well. The style of play was poor last year, in my opinion. The capabilities of the squad are that they could finish higher than I have them, to be honest. But I find it difficult to put them higher because I'm not sure how they're going to click as a team. If they start the season quite well, they have a great chance of finishing higher, though. Key men for me are Michael Duffy. Obvious reasons. Liam Boyce, because he seems to be the striker that Tiernan Lynch is going to hang his hat on. You still have Hooban and Mullen. So how well he does might determine how well they do also. And Gavin White, because I think they needed straightening on the right-hand side. McMullen's a good player, but I see him as a squad player for a Derry City team. So White should give them that extra quality on that side of the pitch as well. Billy, your thoughts on Derry City? Interesting times ahead anyway, the Brandywell, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, a new manager coming into a new league. We don't really know much about him. Well, at least I don't anyway. Maybe you do.
Well, I did a video on it, so.
Oh, well then. I think Adam O'Reilly and Brian Maher are key players to re-sign, because there were rumours that they were going to leave. So I think keeping them is a huge statement. And the signings, again, I don't know much about them. Maybe they'll do well, but only time will tell. It is interesting times ahead for Derry, obviously. New manager and everything.
Yeah, and because of all the factors, maybe it'll take time to settle. I don't know. But if Derry City in fourth place. Now, in third place, this might be very controversial, but I've gone for Shamrock Rovers, and I'll explain why. And by the way, this is the first season since doing these vlogs. This is the 6th season now that I haven't gone for Shamrock Rovers to win the league, weirdly. And I've gone for them in third place. Interesting. First off, the positives with Shamrock Rovers. They've got a goalkeeper, Ed McGinty. Basically, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. I think they lacked that last year. Look, nobody in the league needs any introduction to Ed McGinty, do they, to be fair? Matt Healy as well, very good sign. A player I liked at Cork City a lot. Very good player. Can hit from range as well. Danny Mandrew has signed officially now as well, and expect big things for him in terms of having the pre-season and that. They've also signed Adam Matthews previously of Celtic. And young Michael Noonan has come in from Pats. But they've lost a lot of good players. Sean Hoare, Neil Ferrugia, Marcus Poom, Johnny Kenny, Dara Burns. That's a lot of talent out the door in one window. And they haven't really, in my opinion, replaced them yet. Danny Grant's another player they'll have to get the best out of as well, who's struggled really in the last couple of years. But they still have a lot of good players, don't get me wrong, and they've signed a lot of good players, as in signed them on, etc. You still have Lee Grace, Pico Lopez, Josh Honahan, Trevor Clark. There's great players there. Jack Byrne, question mark with the fitness. Graham Burke, Gary O'Neill, Aaron Green, Aaron McAniff. They still have an awful lot of Dylan Watts, you know what I mean? There's an awful lot of talent there. And Stephen Bradley's a great manager, in my opinion. But there's a combo here, because at the minute of doing this video, I think they need a striker. Compared to the other two that I've named ahead of them, I think they need a striker. They arguably need a Ferrugia type replacement as well, but Mandrew has come in there, I suppose, and they'd be hoping Danny Grant maybe plays in one of those 10s as well. That's the way they play, isn't it? Usually 2 10s to play, but the wing backs, they need Trevor Clark fit, because I think he's excellent at left wing back when he's fit. But I just think with them that's where they're lacking, and they may still do something there. It's just doing this video a week to go, or whatever it is, before the season. That's how I feel. If they get a striker that you go, that's a signing. They could, in your head, they could nearly go from third to top. They're in this race. There's no doubt about it, and could easily win the league. And probably for the first time in 3 years, or first time in a long time, 3 years, more than 3 years, I think 3 teams potentially could win this league. And even with Derry, if things clicked, they could be in the mix very much so. But with Shamrock Rovers, look, they'd be keen to try and win back the title that they lost, if you like, last year, having won it 4 years in a row. And they're going to be They're a real talented side. I just think they're missing out in some key areas, and their squad at this minute in time for me looks weaker than last season. The other factor for me is the kind of lack of a pre-season. I'm sure they've done stuff to try and navigate around it, but it's going to be a long season after last season in Europe, etc. So for those particular reasons, I've got Shamrock Rovers in third place. Billy, do you think I have them a bit low?
I think have a bit low, but obviously you said the striker position.
You think they're going to win it, don't you?
Yeah, I think they will win it. I don't know what I said there. Johnny Kenny's, I know he's on loan, but was a big blow because he was a very, very, very good striker. They also lost Neil Ferrugia, a very, very good player as well. But they did bring in Ed McGinty as a very good keeper, especially at Sligo. He'll do the same at Rovers, same league. It's nothing different to him, honestly. Yeah, they might, if they get a good striker, they will win the league, 100%.
There you go. Shamrock Rovers in third place. Now in second place, I've gone for the champions Shelbourne. And I know a lot of people seem to think that Shelbourne might fall off a bit this season. I've seen some people say they don't think they'll even finish in the top 3 or 4, for example. I don't know why that is. Yeah, did they overachieve a little bit last season? A little bit. But you can't underestimate the belief that those players have now after winning the league. Anything Duff sold to them is completely sold to them now because they've won the league. So they're going to trust their manager in every facet of life, really, to be honest with you, never mind on the field. So that belief, I think, is there. I think they've improved their squad big time. I think Mipo Adebeko looks like an excellent signing. I think up front, that's the thing with me. Sean Boyd is a very good player and he suffers from injuries from time to time, particularly muscle injuries. But now they have Mipo, now they have Ellis Chapman who can play slightly off a striker there as well. So they've added to their attacking prowess for me big time. That's something that they needed to do and they have done that big time. John Martin is still there, of course, as well. Ryan O'Kane's still a bit raw. They've Daniel Kelly, etc., who they've brought in. But they've got Harry Wood now from the very start of the season, for example. Tulloch has come in as well. So they've got plenty of options. I'm probably even missing someone, actually. They've got plenty of options in the attacking areas of the field. They're still strong in the middle with Lunny and Coyle. And obviously they brought in Kerr McEnroy as well to give them a bit more, I suppose, options there too. Again, have they lost anyone big? I don't think so.
Doesn't look like it.
No, okay, Matty Smith's gone. Liam Burt is gone too, but I don't think they've lost anyone that's massive. That's a big, big loss. And obviously they've re-signed the likes of Sean Boyd, Connor Kearns, Ali Coote. He was the other attacker I was trying to think of earlier. Sean Gannon, Paddy Barrett. So their squad is bigger. Their squad is better, in my personal opinion. It really is. And, they've a bit of creativity there now as well. So anyone that's thinks Shelbourne are going to fall away, I think, need to think again. I think it's more of hope, to be honest, than it is anything else. I honestly don't think they are. I think they're going to finish the top 3 for sure. They could easily end up being champions again. They're going to be in the race. I'm telling you, they're going to be in the race, very much so in this race. And, Duff has them set up very well, but now they've an extra bit of sprinkle in their attack, in my personal opinion. Billy, your thoughts on Shelbourne?
Yeah. Obviously, you said the attack, they got a lot of new players, and I think Moipo will be a key player for them. He looked good against Drogheda, and if he can do what he's been doing against Drogheda for the whole season, they'll have a very, very good attack on them, definitely that. The defence, very experienced, Sean Gannon and Paddy Barrett. And midfield, they have Mark Coyle, very, very good player. They're just a very good side. I see them getting top 3 100%.
Yeah, and the point is as well, they're a real team unit as well. Everything functions, everything gels. I think people underestimate that kind of stuff at times as well. They look at players and individuals. This gels. And it's a continuation. As I said, belief will be at a height around that club now. Absolutely sky high belief. Key players for me for Shelbourne, Sean Boyd, I think, even though I think if he's missing, it's not as big of a loss as it was before because of the options they have, but I still think he bullies defenders. He can make room for the strikers, other strikers that play, etc. And he's, for me, a good leader. He needs to relax with his yellow cards. That's the only thing. Connor Cairns, obviously, he commands that defence. If he was missing, it's a big, big loss to that defence, as is Paddy Barrett, I think. They're their key players. If they were missing Cairns and Barrett or one or the other for a long amount of time, there'd be a massive hole in their team, put it that way. So for those reasons, they're key players. Shelbourne second. So first and champions for me is St. Patrick's Athletic, and St. Patrick's Athletic flattered to deceive in the last few seasons. They've won 2 cups, which is brilliant. It's brilliant. They've qualified for Europe. But a lot of people were expecting them to put in a serious challenge for the league in the last number of years. Personally, I didn't. You'll know by watching the videos of the predictions, etc., that I didn't expect them to challenge for the league. I fully expect them to challenge for the league this year. In fact, I think they'll win it. If not, they're going to go very, very close. There's a couple of teams who could still stop them from winning this league. Trust me in that. I've mentioned them before. But the reasons why I think they'll win it are a number of reasons. First of all, Stephen Kenny and his record in this league. The way they finished the season under Stephen Kenny. They look a real team unit. And I've spoken about this compared to, what I mean? It's so important being a team unit. They're functioning, they gel. They haven't lost anyone that they wanted to lose, to be honest. There's no player, and that's the first time in a number of years that has happened. They've added Romel Palmer, who's now signed. He was on loan. Simon Perez come in from Sligo Rovers. Now, he does tend to get an injury or two, but the fact that they've Mulroney now with Zeddy there means that Power doesn't have to be force played, so he can be used sparingly, let's say, at times. Sean Hoare gives you experience of winning titles in there. Conor Carty's come in for Bolton. Barry Bagley, they needed someone else in midfield as well. So, he's a very good player. And most of these players have actually played in the league. In fact, they all have options in the wing. They've got Levy, they've got Elbazetti, Mulroney, Power, Forrester, Bagley, Lennon, for example, in midfield. My only problem for Pats is the right back slot. Axel Schulberg is excellent. He's one of the best right backs in the league. And they've got McLaughlin. But they suffer from injuries. If the two of them get injured at the same time, Pats may have a problem. That's my only, issue with them. But centre back, the competition, Redmond, Horn, Gravosti is excellent too. So, yeah, they look like they have a really, really good squad. And as I said, I think if they don't win it, they're going to be very, very close. Billy?
Yeah, very, very good team. On the pitch, they have Forrester, Jamie Lennon in midfield, Romel Palmer, they got obviously from loan last year. I think, in my opinion, the best part of their team is the wingers. Mulroney and Elbazetti, they're both very, very good wingers.
It's also the way Kenny tries to play, isn't it? He makes the most and the best, so he gets the best out of wingers, doesn't he?
Yeah, they're both very, very direct. They both even get goals. And up top they have some competition as well. They have Melia, Keena, Conor Carty, all very, very good players. And then the defence, Sean Hoare, Gravosti, and Joe Redmond. And even left back, you could argue, Anto Breslin, Kazim. Yeah, very, very good side.
Yeah, and crucially, excellent manager. And I think the top 3 teams have excellent managers, and for sure in this league, that kind of way. So I think that's a key thing too. The key players for me are Joe Redmond when he's in form and that, and he's captain. He keeps the back line together. So even though they've brought in Gravosti and they've Gravosti and Hort, I still think he is. Keena, if Keena can finish the season the way, or start the season the way he finished last season, key player. And Brandon Kavanagh for me as well. I think Brandon Kavanagh is an excellent technician, really good on the ball, assists, goals, plays with his head up, always looking for a ball forward. You'd love to play with Brandon Kavanagh as a striker. Quick early ball, I'm telling you. But yeah, honestly, if they don't win it, they're going very, very close. So yeah, there you have it. I think St. Patrick's Lake are going to be champions. I do think between the top 3, what could be a difference here determines who wins or not. Could be, you talk about key players getting injured and stuff, it could be a case of which clubs gets the most injuries with important players may determine actually who wins this title as well. And it wouldn't completely rule Derry out either. Wouldn't completely rule Bowes out of a European place. The bottom 4 could be upside down. It's the one thing I'm sure of, in my opinion. I think Galway finished 5th or 6th. To be honest, you can hang your hat on that. But let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Where's your team going to finish? Who's going to win the league? Who's going to quad for Europe? Who are the players to watch going into the season? And that's it. Say goodbye, bye, Billy.
Bye.
Say goodbye, bye. Did I say goodbye, bye? Yes,
I
bye.
don't know.